It's clone time. Alright, so I found a surplus parts kit and I decided I wanted to do a new clone build. So I was looking for a lower, for an M4 lower, and I came across these that I didn't even know existed until I started doing research for this new clone build. So I figured I'd make a video on it, and if anyone was interested, you could see exactly how the FN lowers come. So these are basically the collector's edition, but it's just the lowers. Obviously it's just a strip lower, but it's the same lower that would come on the collector's series A4 and M4 from FN. So let's open it up and we'll take a look at it. Comes in a nice little box. Actually, I like this box a lot, actually. Comes in a mill standard bag. I really like that Colt and FN does that. That's awesome. So basically it's just a standard lower. It's marked safe semi-auto. And it does come with a UID label already on it, which I actually really like. So, and then on this side we have AM4 carbine, cage code marked, FN, and safe semi-auto. So I did want to discuss real quick that just about the authenticity of this lower as far as being clone correct, because there are some things that FN can't do, and it does lend to FN's not being as clone correct. But so let's talk about those quick. So from here back is clone correct, but from here forward is not. So on an actual FN lower, it would have a QR code here. It would say property of U.S. government, and it would not say 556 by 45 NATO. It would just say 556 NATO. So that's one of the reasons why I've never bought an actual FN clone, because their clones aren't that clone correct, even though they hold the military contract. And the reason that is because FN doesn't hold the licensing and the TDP, and they legally can't do that, whereas Colt owns all that, so they can. I think FN still pays Colt a royalty for making these. At least they did up until a certain point. That may be not a thing anymore, but it was up until a certain point. Just on the M4s anyways. So you can see I have a little bit of tape there. That is because this is a registered SBR lower, and there is some information there that I obviously don't want people to see. So one of the things that I was kind of hoping that would be on this lower was, I was kind of hoping they would have the flashing here that was left on. There's a little bit here, but it's ground down and it's nice and smooth. So on a military lower, in a Colt lower, if you buy Colt to this day, a civilian Colt, you will see flashing through here, and people get upset about that when they buy a Colt. But that's how Colt will give them to the military. That's how FN gives them to the military. FN just leaves the flashing on. And like I said, Colt does the same thing, just because this milling this flashing off here, it just to make it nice and smooth. That's a civilian thing, because obviously, I mean, like I said, guys buy Colt now and they complain about that. So FN just does that to get rid of the complaints. But as far as clone correctness, it would be kind of nice to have the flashing on it. I mean, even if they just did it for the FN collector series, that would be pretty cool. So I believe the FN mark looks a little different too. If I can find a picture of a correct FN lower online, I will put it in. I will inlay the picture over top so you can see. But I mean, this is clone correct enough. So one of the other things I wanted to point out too, as far as not being clone correct, so this is M4 carbine, but it says auto. So technically M4 carbine, this should have a burst here, but yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. This really should say M4A1 carbine, and then for the auto, I'm not quite sure why they did that, but that's what they chose to do. So I am building an M4A1, so it's not a, like I said, it's not gonna be quite clone correct, but my options were kind of limited. I was limited to basically spending $800 for a Colt lower that was U.S. property marked, or I could buy a PSA U.S. property marked M4 carbine lower, but I just didn't want anything from PSA. And then I think there's like Thoroughbred Armament does have a lower that's marked M4A1 carbine and has property marks on it, but I thought this would be the better option because FN does hold the contracts, and while the markings may not be exact on this, everything on this gun is going to be either surplus or current government issue, and this would be current government issue. So just, I mean, as close as I can get, obviously. So I do have a surplus M4 carbine lower parts kit coming. That's Colt, and that'll go inside here. So I'm pretty excited about that. You can see there is some scratches and stuff. It's been in and out of the bag. I've had this for like 3 or 4 weeks. It's just been kind of banging around. I've been waiting for the rest of my parts. It's just seems like this build will never be completed because I can't get it done. Can't get all the parts in. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day.